Hey guys, welcome to another GameXplain discussion. I'm your host, Andre Seegers, and we're again joined by Derek Binner to discuss all the latest news of Smash Bros. Wii U and 3DS from this past week. So let's get right into it. Alright Derek, so it was a pretty big news week for Smash Bros. Being as they confirmed that Diddy Kong's returning to the game. But we also got some, a few interesting developments in the, daily updates as well. Now this first picture isn't terribly interesting in of itself. It just shows Little Mac uppercutting the crap out of Mega Man. But to me, it looks like Mega Man's huge in this picture, especially his head. So I don't know if it's just a perspective thing or if he's got like a Mega Mushroom or something. I don't know what's going on here.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the first thing that draws your attention in this picture is just how big Mega Man's head is. And as you said, he could be doing a Super Mushroom, or Little Mac could just be that small. But we did other comparison. We looked at some other pictures before doing the discussion. And there's been pictures of Mega Man next to Mario, and the size, Mega Man's about the same size as Mario, and there's not really much difference in their proportions. Right. So why is there such a huge gap here between Little Mac and Mega Man? And I'm not quite sure I can explain it, other than the fact that maybe he does have a Super Mushroom. It's very strange, especially since we've seen other pictures of Little Mac punching like Sonic and Mario, and their proportions don't seem that out of whack from his.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking it really just has to be a perspective thing, but it does just look so weird here to me. Mm-hmm. Like I'm guessing maybe Mega Man's head is being knocked far enough back that it's closer to the camera, perhaps, and that's why it seems so freakishly large.
It could be, but I guess the main point of this update is in Sakurai's little update. It's basically saying that what we said in the analysis, where Little Mac is really effective on the ground, but he becomes sort of gimped once he gets into the air. Right.
Yeah, I mean, he really is stressing the fact that he's not going to be a great airborne fighter. Which could be a problem, because most of Smash, or a lot of Smash, takes place while in the air. So it's going to be really interesting to see how they balance that. I guess he's going to have to be a really good, on foot or on ground player in order to compensate for that. And to be fair, that's how it seems to be in the trailer. He seems to be a really powerful character when on the ground. So, but I'm wondering how his air game is going to compare.
From what we've seen, at least what they've emphasized, it does seem to be rather poor. I think the big advantage with Little Mac is that he can do a lot of quick punches and just use that speed. And in the air, he just seems a lot slower, and his punches don't quite have that same oomph. Right. So I think that could be the big difference here with these between his airborne game and his land game.
Yeah, that very well could be. Alright, moving on to the next picture from Tuesday, we have a new item. This time we can see it's a fairy from Zelda, even inside a bottle. And apparently will, according to Sakurai, will completely heal anyone who's taken over 100% damage. Now to me, that seems like that's simply replacing the heart item from the previous games, which also restored you to complete health.
Mm-hmm. It's possible, but I think when I first saw this, I was like, okay, is this something like as soon as you grab, you release the fairy and it heals you? Or is it something more like the item bottles, what the heck they're called? The
capsules?
Little capsules, thank you. Where you could potentially use it as a projectile weapon and throw it at him, and then that releases the fairy, and maybe the fairy flies back to you and heals you that way.
Yeah, I was actually thinking the exact same thing as you were saying that. That would be a really interesting mechanic, and it would explain why. I mean, it would make sense why it's in a bottle, but of course, it also would make sense if they just opened it as they do in Zelda. I think it'd be cool if you maybe had to break it open first, like adding a slight delay to getting the benefits of the item. Forcing you to be a bit more careful of how you go about it. Or, as you mentioned, you can maybe use it as a projectile, inflict some damage, then hurry up and run and get the fairy before your opponent gets it. Although, maybe it'll just give them the fairy instantly. I'm not quite sure how that would work. That can even be a factor in team games, where like if you're playing partners and your partner's taking damage, you throw the fairy at them to like heal them.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. I'm kind of thinking that they are changing how it might work compared to the heart, because they are changing it at all. Like, why bother changing it, if it's not going to be different? So but it could still just replace it, or maybe it's going to be in addition to still.
Hard to say. I mean, it could really be either one. But as you said, it seems almost redundant to have another healing item from Zelda unless they change it up in some way.
Right.
And using it as a projectile would be a very different healing item, that's for sure.
Yep, absolutely would be. That certainly would change things up a bit.
Yeah, I definitely like the subtle reference to 3D World in it. Just the fact that Bowser's the one going for the bottle after all he does with bottles in the Sprixie Kingdom.
Oh, good thing. Yeah, you're absolutely right. That is just like the intro to Mario 3D World. Nice catch there, Derek.
You didn't see that. Oh,
I did not catch that.
For shame.
I know. You can even see Peach in the background waving on because she hasn't been captured by Bowser because she was free to roam in Mario 3D World.
Yeah, it's like, hey, what about me? You're cheating on me.
Yeah, right. All right. Well, moving on to Wednesday's picture, we get another picture of something we've seen a bunch of already. I mean, comparatively. Is this a Nintendogs arena? And I say comparatively in that we still don't have a great idea how this arena is going to work, but we have seen quite a few pictures of it. And this one doesn't reveal a ton more. We just get another angle of the house. This time we can see a little bit of the roof, and we can see the same TV in the background. And actually, while we're talking about the TV, we should mention that last week we were speculating what was on the TV, and we totally were convinced that you could see Ness on it. As it turns out, as people pointed out, what you can see, there's actually a picture online of what's on that TV, and all it is just some Nintendogs wearing hats, like Mario and Luigi hats. So.
Yeah, that's a bit disappointing. What I'm wondering is how they cleared up the glare, because that was the thing that always prevented us from really getting a good look.
There must have been, it either was released as a separate screenshot at some point that we missed, or maybe it's actually just a screenshot from Nintendogs itself that just shows that exact same thing. So yeah, so unfortunately Ness isn't confirmed, but I'm sure he's still in the game. However, more interesting is, for one, it's just how giant these dogs are going to be in this game compared to your characters. And Sakurai even mentions this, how like not everything's to scale, and that even applies to the fighters themselves. How Olimar should actually be like way smaller than all these other characters. Like you should barely be able to see the guy. But they had to size him up in order to be a fighter, of course.
The other interesting thing about this stage is one we've always sort of had some theories about, is that it could be the dogs would interact with the stage and change up its layout.
Right.
And we still have yet to see any evidence to that completely, but this block does give us our best look at that, because in past screenshots, we've seen it have different, the colors, which color is facing which way, be completely different from before, where we've seen pictures where the blue's facing to the left side, or just whatever order they're in is completely different. So maybe not the whole stage can get affected, but maybe as you're fighting, that block will tip and tilt and change which way it's facing, and maybe you can crush an opponent underneath if you tilt it on top of them.
That would be something. But it looks like it's such a soft, cuddly block from the looks of it, though. So I'm kind of thinking that's not. But you can even see like almost like the it's a dog toy basically. So you can see like the fabric texture on it. So I don't think you'll be able to crush people on it. But I do wonder if, yeah, as you mentioned, if there's going to be interactive in some way. Whether it's moving around by the players hitting it, or if the dog runs up, as we speculated before, and interfaces with the arena, which I'm kind of hoping is the case. It'd be cool though the arena does change based on the dog, and this is our best look at it yet, because that block is definitely in a different, rotated differently compared to past screenshots. All right, and our final screenshot of the week is, for us basically, is Thursday's, which shows off Lil Mac again, and it gives a nice little size comparison to Samus once again. Really just driving home the point that Lil Mac is a tiny, tiny character compared to almost everyone else in this game. Yeah, it's just kind of funny that this what appears to be a very powerful character, is small, which is true to how he's portrayed in the Punch-Out games. He's the underdog who overpowers everyone.
Yeah, I mean, there's really not much to say about this picture. It's just, and even Sakurai says it's just another look at the height difference, because it was cartoony when they did it before,
right,
for the reveal trailer. He might also just have noticed all the shipping that's been happening since the reveal trailer. There's been a lot of artwork of people pairing together Little Mac and Samus now, which is weird because Little Mac punched her, but whatever. It's not much to say, but it is interesting to get a, I guess, proper perspective on just how tiny he is, and it'll be interesting to see how it all pans out.
Yeah, it is. It is curious, as you mentioned, that they keep comparing him to Samus. I don't know why they latched onto that particular comparison compared to any other, but it doesn't be working out. Like, I feel like if they ever made a Mario Tennis game that brought in other characters and Little Mac and Samus were in it, they'd totally be partner characters.
Could be.
All right, so the only other screenshot of the week, was actually a bunch released for Diddy Kong, and we already talked about it in depth in a Diddy Kong discussion, so we're gonna skip over that, since we already covered it. All right, guys. Well, I think that covers it for everything this week. So thanks for watching. If you liked this discussion, make sure to stay tuned to GameXplain.com for much more on Smash Brothers and other things gaming. And of course, make sure to follow us on Facebook and Twitter at GameXplain, which you'll find links to in the description below, as it's also a great way to keep up with everything we do. All right, thanks for watching, guys. Bye.